In Australia, it has become quite normal, despite it obviously being very abnormal, that people can identify however they wish. Men can identify as women can identify as non-binary, humans can identify as animals, and people who don't look Aboriginal can indeed identify as such. And you better not question any of this. You better reject the evidence of your eyes and ears, otherwise you're a lowly bigot. Take, for instance, the recent triple murder in Lake Cargeligo in the centre of New South Wales. It made international news. The BBC reported 3 dead in shooting in Australia's New South Wales. After the Bondi Terror Attack, it seems Australia's gun-free paradise facade is slowly being exposed as a pipe dream. The people who were killed were known to the alleged perpetrator. I'll get to him soon. One was Sophie Quinn, his 25-year-old ex-partner who reportedly was pregnant to another man. The second was her new boyfriend, John Harris, 32. Both were shot and killed inside a car. The third was Ms. Quinn's aunt, Nerida Quinn, 50, who was shot dead in a driveway in a different location. In the same location, a friend of the aunt's son, a 19-year-old man, Caleb McQueen, was also shot but survived the shooting. New South Wales Police, in their original media release dated 23rd of January 2026, titled Update 3 Dead Following Shooting, Lake Cargelligo, wrote, "The man is described as being Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander appearance, about 165 to 170 centimetres tall, of a medium build with short dark hair and brown eyes." He was later identified as Julian Ingram, shown on screen. I'm not sure what you see, but I see a man who looks Caucasian to me. But here in topsy-turvy Australia, where people can identify how they wish despite the glaring optical reality, who am I to believe my lying eyes? Later that day, the police released another report, Appeal to locate man wanted on outstanding warrant. They wrote, Julian Ingram, also known as Pierpoint, aged 37, is wanted on an outstanding warrant for murder. And again, they noted, Julian is described as being Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander appearance. The same day, the taxpayer-funded ABC ran the piece titled, Lake Cargelligo residents in shock after 3 people shot dead. They included a picture of Mr. Ingram and noted, the ABC has confirmed the suspected gunman is a council gardener who works as a weeds officer. But despite the police statement, they wrote, he is described as 165 to 170 centimetres tall, of medium build, with short dark hair and brown eyes. No mention of his Aboriginal appearance, as noted in the official police release. The same day, the National Indigenous Times ran a piece titled, Police Search for Man Following Triple Fatal Shooting in Lake Cargelligo. They also showed a picture of Mr. Ingram and provided a description. Mr. Ingram is described by police as about 165 to 170 centimetres tall, of medium build, with short dark hair and brown eyes. Again, no mention of his Aboriginal appearance. Although, thank you to an eagle-eyed viewer who noticed this, they did note at the end of the article, on Friday, police described Mr. Ingram as being of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander appearance, which was included in the original version of this report. National Indigenous Times understands Mr. Ingram is not Indigenous. So the ABC has chosen not to include that part. The National Indigenous Times understands he is not Aboriginal. What are they basing this off? His appearance? What? They're using their eyes to make a judgment on his identity? That sounds rather bigoted. I thought I'd better check the most recent police report. This one is from yesterday, 27th of January. Police release new images of vehicle as search continues to locate wanted man. Again, they note, Julian is described as being Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander appearance. But despite the police stating this in all their official media releases, the media seem to be completely ignoring it. However, Region Riverina has tried to get to the bottom of this, running a piece titled, New South Wales Police explains Aboriginal appearance descriptor as alleged murderer manhunt continues. In the article, they interview former Wagga councillor Paul Funnell, who blamed political correctness for what he believed was poor communication. He said, "Those listening to this description on the radio would have driven straight past Mr. Ingram without noticing him as the suspect fled in a vehicle. How can the public help the police if we don't put out proper facts?" A police spokesperson explained the decision. "The New South Wales Police Force is aware Julian Ingram identifies as being of Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander descent as a result of prior interactions with him. During every interaction, Ingram has identified himself as being of Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander descent. Aboriginal Affairs made contact with the New South Wales Police Force and confirmed that Ingram's father is of Aboriginal descent, which also supports the decision to describe him as an Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander male." This raises a fundamental question. What is the purpose of police descriptions? I think the answer is obvious: to help find the perpetrator. If the description is factual and clear, it helps the public identify the suspect, so that they can contact the police and aid in his apprehension. If the description is factually misleading for the sake of optics, this will only confuse the public and allow a killer to hide in plain sight. The question is, does describing Mr. Ingram as being Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander appearance help the investigation? I don't think it does, but I think the police think that if they don't describe him that way, despite what their eyes are telling them, they're going to be accused of racism. In the opposite corner, the ABC refuses to mention his identity because they're also afraid of the same label. And as we all know, that's the ultimate sin in modern Australia. Speaking of identity, the police have also released images of a white Ford Ranger utility that Mr. Ingram was allegedly driving. But given the current climate, I'm surprised they didn't describe it as a charcoal grey sedan. After all, if the driver can identify however he wishes, regardless of the visual evidence, why can't the getaway car? Who are we to impose our narrow-minded colour binary on a vehicle that clearly identifies as black? I know this sounds ridiculous, but isn't this where identity politics has brought us? To a society so terrified of a label, so confused by identity, that we'd rather let a suspect blend into the crowd than dare to describe him accurately. Have we officially traded our common sense for a fantasy?